13 years ago, on a short bus in a small town in Washington, two idiots met. A bunch of stupid stuff happened. We want you to listen to those stupid stories. Hey guys, welcome to another exciting episode of Living with Humor. I'm one of your hosts, Brent.
I'm Brock.
That is Brock. And our special guest for this evening is someone who's known us for like 10 years now and has put up with us for a long time. Musical performing artist Abigail Sloane. Thank you for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
It was about time we had someone from our high school days, and I was like, there's no one who knew us better that didn't attempt to beat us up at some point in time.
Well.
Because do you want to kind of break down a little bit of like how we met, or would you like me to get into that story of like how we officially became cool?
I'm more than happy to at least launch it. You'll probably remember more of it than I do. But for sure, I remember the first time I ever interacted with you was in Matt Kitna's math class.
Yeah. That was a tough math class where we focused on fantasy sports and how that relates to math.
That's all we did. And I remember opening up the textbook too and being like, okay, here's the problem that we have to work. And I was like, excuse me, Mr. Kitna, can you tell me where I would start with this? And he goes, yeah, I have a clue. I was like, why are you teaching math?
I forgot about Kitna's math class.
Yeah.
It was a cluster of just the world's most brilliant students and teachers in that class.
Right. Yeah. We were very intellectually
mathematically gifted.
Yeah.
And I guess at some point in time we had a negative reaction or something. I guess at some point in time either I said something or I got blamed for something. Not entirely certain on the specifics of it, but I upset you, and to a very, very high degree. And
I feel so bad because I don't remember even what it was.
I wish I could remember so I could apologize. Like a vague apology over nothing is just kind of like, it's something, but it's not.
Yeah, poor sheltered Abigail was probably upset by a lot. So it wasn't a stretch.
Yeah, you went from homeschool to a private Christian school where everyone was a little more.
I ate lunch every single day of my freshman year in the downstairs bathroom by Mr. Seeley's lab.
Oh. Yeah. I was wandering the halls completely alone, so I was like, we could have been friends. I could have been like, let's eat somewhere cool. Like, oh god, I guess not. It's like I didn't sit with anyone my freshman year. I just wandered the halls listeing to like death metal and emo music, just trying to. My life is so hard, and wait till I became an adult.
Oh, Lord.
But I guess I offended you, and you had gone home, and you had told your brother Chet about like what had transpired, and you happened to live on Vashon Island, which was a school that we played football against. During this time, I was on the football team, not playing, mind you. I was very short, very underweight, very under-talented. Still am for the most part. But ended up going to leave out of the tunnel to go up and take part with the team. There is this lanky string bean staring at me.
It was so perfect.
And he was like, don't you ever talk to my sister like that. I will never tolerate anyone talking to my sister like this. How could you even say that? And I'm just,
my hero.
Do I even know who you are? What is
this? A good dude.
You didn't even mention who your sister's name is. And it was like, I had to think about this the entire game because I didn't play. I was just stood on the sideline and Penguin huddled along with everybody else on the sideline. I was just like, who did I upset? I was pissed off.
I mean, shoot, he was 2 years younger than me, number one. Mm-hmm. And so he was my younger brother. And so that sweet little boy, when I found out he did that, I was like, oh my gosh, my
hero. And it took me some level of time to like put all the pieces together. But then like the game finishes and I'm going back down and there's Chet again. So I was like, you better have learned your lesson. You better have thought about this. I know where you go to school. I'm like, I'm wearing the school uniform. I hope you do. But it just went back in the tunnel, like, and got in the bus, got in the ferry, headed back home. And I was just like, I wonder, well, he's here at Vashon. It's like, I only know one girl who goes to school with us who lived on Vashon Island.
Yeah.
You. And I was like,
that's gotta be it.
It was like, that has to be it. It was like, but what did I say? What did I do?
And Brent, I wish I could remember. Like, I genuinely wish I could remember what you said. I have a reason to be like, this is what happened, why. But like, I genuinely don't remember. I'm like,
because I know, like, Demetrius had a terrible nickname for you in math
class. Oh, I forgot about him.
But we don't use that term at all because
what was my nickname?
You remember freshman year, right? Your last name is a little bit difficult for most people to pronounce. Krasovich.
Right, yeah.
So, him being him, Abigail Cranky Bitch was what he would say.
To be fair, it wasn't that original because my dad got called that in 1980 whatever. So, it's not
yeah, and I was just like, it's like I heard of it, but I was like, she doesn't seem all that cranky. She's like the only one that actually seems happy with what's going on. It's like, and that was one of our few classes together, but like, I guess at some point I went up and apologized, and you were still very much indignant about it. You're just kind of like, I can't believe you would do something like that. I thought you were better than this. So like, apparently I'm not.
Again, like, I wish I could remember that way. I could be like, this makes sense, and this is why I would have reacted, and da 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 da.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for overreacting. This many years.
We were freshmen in high school. Yeah. I'm sure I said or did something that felt like a slight. As I've talked about on the show several times, my freshman year of high school is probably the worst year of maybe my existence. Period.
It was hard.
Because I went from a private school where I knew everybody, I had tons of friends, I knew exactly where I was going to go, who I could hang out with, to this school in Tacoma, and I was like, everyone's already been friends for forever. Everyone's already got their little cliques. They've got their little groups. And then I was just kind of like, I don't really fit in anywhere.
Well, maybe then that's why we got along so well once we got over whatever. Because I was homeschooled literally all the way through 8th grade. And then high school was my first interaction to any sort of schooling environment. So I was kind of in the same boat, was just like, I don't know anybody. I mean, like, I remember getting picked on in Bible class like all the time. Like, I was just like, it was humiliating. I mean, freshman year, I'm sure for everybody sucks.
Oh yeah.
It was a huge adjustment phase for everything going on. It's like, and people seem to gravitate towards picking on you, I feel, because they were super insecure with their own faith and their own walk at that time. Because like, as high schoolers, anyone can attest, you're pressured into doing a lot of things, dressing a certain way, talking a certain way, that if you are a person of any kind of faith, I don't care what background you're in, it's tough. It's not easy to sit there and be like, no, I'm not interested in what you're offering. And you were one of the few kids, at least I can say I know of in high school, who absolutely was like, no thanks. Sometimes it was easier than others, but you were always the one that was consistent about, no, that's not for me.
Thank you. So. I mean, honestly, that means a lot. That's means a lot that's what you remember from me from high school the most, is that, like, that's huge to me. So thank you.
You walked the talk. You were one of the few that legitimately was about, like, exactly what you said you were about. There wasn't any kind of falseness to it. There's a lot of people who met who would be like, oh yeah, I'm such a Christian person, I'm so in love with the Lord, but like a week later there'd be several stories about stuff they were doing to keep their virginity, and you'd be like, okay, excuse me, that's if you've read the book, like,
well, and it's
hard, not right.
And I can't speak to the like male experience of high school, so bear with me, but I know, like, as a female, I know a lot of the pressure is that. I mean, you're freaking teenagers. Like, of course, there's going to be a lot of pressure there. And I knew for like a lot of girls, it wasn't necessarily like, oh yeah, I want to do this, but it was more like, I feel pressured into doing this to either like keep the guy that I'm dating or like save face with these other people or like all this stuff. And so it was two dynamics. It was like, I want to do this, but also at the same time, I'm mostly doing it to try and like get X, Y, and Z. And I think that's really hard for a lot of teenagers. I'm sure for guys too. Again, I can't really speak to the male experience, but I know for a fact there were a lot of women that just that was where their identity was coming from.
It's tough to see, especially in the schooling format that we were in, that there was still that much pressure. But it's like we were teenagers, we were all hormonal monsters trying to figure out where we fit in, who we were. We were dealing with acne, we were dealing with schools like pressuring us. We were trying to figure out what our future was going to be, and then we had to be thrown into this cluster of, albeit it was only like 40 kids in our graduating class, but we're just thrown together, and it was like, be happy. And it was like,
I think the smaller the class too, like the worse it was, because you knew everybody.
Absolutely.
Like
everyone's story saw the light of day at some point.
Exactly.
You never had a story.
Yeah.
I never had a story.
Like I've had my embarrassing stories. I shared several embarrassing stories with your brother Chet, which, just in case you guys are curious, I became friends with Chet when he joined the football team his freshman year, my junior year, and we had weight room class together, and we worked on getting larger together, and we would always just try and push each other to try and be as strong as possible, because Chet was younger than I was, but he was significantly stronger than I was. So all I could do is be like work on form and stuff.
So you would have lost that fight, Brent.
I would have 100% lost it. He was taller than I was when I was a freshman. It would not have lasted well. I would have only had the football helmet to protect me.
He's always had the like really great advantage of being younger, but being so much like, I want to say better almost, you know, because like I'm the older sibling, and I feel like he has more of his life together. You know what I mean? Like he knows what he wants. He's very calculated. He's very intelligent. And so it's like, I love being his older sister, because I love like bragging about him. I love being like, yes, that's my brother. Like dibs. I know him, you know? So like you say that, like he was working and encouraging you and being with you and like all this stuff, like that's who he is. Like he's just that guy. And I love that about him.
Yeah, like me and him laughed and joked about the incident several times over. And he was like, I was willing. And I was like, Chet, I've never seen you upset about anything in your life. This is the only time I've ever seen you worked up. And he's like, oh yeah, I was going to go after you, football helmet and all. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. All right.
Oh.
I understand. He's like, it's like, if it wasn't for my sister, like I probably would have been fine with it. But that was my sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. It's like, I have two sisters. I'm the middle child. I have an older sister and a younger sister. My younger sister has her life 100% together. My older sister has her life 100% together. I'm just here. I'm having a good time.
Okay, you got your life together at some point. You own a house. That's a big deal.
Yeah, we'll get there. I mean, at one point or another. But the one thing that I think our listeners really are super curious about, me and Brock have talked a bit about our high school experiences to date, and like how we felt we fit in, kind of what we did, all that sort of stuff. But from someone who actually experienced high school with us to some extent, are there any like stories you remember of us, or you just kind of have like any thoughts on like who we were? Because clearly the listeners would be like, wow, Brent bullied this girl and like she seems really sweet. What the heck's wrong with him? Be like,
no. No, I mean, I tell you, after that happened, like you and I were pretty good chums.
We shared a lot of stories and a lot of laughs, and we would I was the only one that was able to get you to like really be extroverted. I was just like, we just relaxed together.
I'm classically introverted, like the whole 9 yards of the introverted kind of person. She's very quiet. She's very herself, the whole thing. But like that was magnified in high school, mostly because again, I didn't really know anybody. This was my first like schooling experience, like the whole thing.
Yeah,
it took me about 3 years, before I got really comfortable. But I remember you were like one of the maybe 3 people that in high school could get me to actually be a little bit more energetic, a little bit more outspoken, a little bit more, present. And I think it was like, I mean, it's very much due to people like you, Brent, that got me out of my shell, that pushed me to like actually be somebody instead of like quiet little Abigail in the back of the class that didn't talk, that like all this stuff, because you made me feel comfortable. Like you were a guy that people liked, that people like enjoyed being around, and that didn't change in our dynamic. Like you were very fun to be around. You were very like energetic, the kind of guy that would bring you kind of out of your shell a little bit. So that's what I remember of you guys for sure. I mean, Brock, we didn't spend a whole lot of time in high school, but every interaction we've ever had, you were just the same person. You made everyone feel comfortable around you. And that was really easy to like want to be connected to and want to be like around and involved with. Like that was both of you guys, what I remember in high school. So
D-Brock, he kind of made an introvert into an extrovert who could bring out an introvert becoming an extrovert. Because we were talking about how like Brock is like the Stitch in people's lives.
Right.
Like, Lilo and Stitch, the rocket crashes.
Yes.
He's just like, God sent me a sign, and then he shows up.
There's Brock.
Yeah, that was me. That was definitely me. I definitely corrupted Brent, but
I was a very, very good kid until you showed up.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Ooh.
Yeah. Sorry, Brent.
I didn't cuss. I didn't drink. I didn't make vulgar jokes.
Oh, man.
My grades were significantly higher.
I made
except for math. That was a lost art form on me. I just never figured it out.
Math was lost to begin with. Like that was.
It's like I mean, I never did drugs, so it's like I can say that. It's like I drank in high school, and there were several stories of me drinking going around high school. I made a fool of myself on several occasions. Chet has heard about several of them when we're doing weight training. He'd always be like, "Why would you do that?"
Oh no!
It was never supportive. It's like, what were you thinking?
Right? Yeah, that would be Chet.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, but I mean, like, I'm in high school. Everyone thinks this is cool.
He still does that with me. He goes, "What were you thinking? What? Why was that even an option in your head?"
And you're just like, I don't know.
Right. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know.
It seemed like the right idea at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
God. A good example of that is that basketball game, right, Brent?
Oh no, that was so bad.
What basketball game was this?
There was a home game at LCA, and Ray was like he was our friend. He lived like a block from the school. Yeah. He was always able to get a hold of alcohol like really, really easily.
Yeah.
We decided we would pregame for this game because he would manage, and like me and Brock are like, we have nothing better to do. Let's go to his house. So we started just throwing back shots and having a really, really good time with it. And then we got super, super buzzed. Well, I think we were drunk. I might as well.
Yeah, we were hammered.
And then we walked to school, and then literally like look at the bleachers, completely full. I was like, oh crap. Except for one spot up next to David.
Oh.
So we managed to stumble, leaning, falling over, and make our way to the top. And people were like, "Are you drunk? Are you not?
Are you not?"
And then
an LCR basketball game.
It's like, show your school pride, damn it. God.
It's a miracle we didn't get in trouble.
I think the teachers saw us. We're like, nope, not today.
Yeah.
This is after school. We're done.
Right. We're all, I don't need to deal with this.
Yeah.
And then you decided to roast David for like absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
I was so okay with him at the time, but then you just decided to roast him. For like, I'm drunk. I don't care. It's like I can't move at this point anyway, so this is where I live now.
Well, at the time, I think David was very well deserving of a roast, so it's fine.
Yeah.
We all deserved a little bit of a roast in high school. We've all done certain things, except for you. You were the only one that like abstained from trouble.
Okay, but I wanted to be roasted, y'all. Like nobody. Me too, though. Like
we were afraid of Chet. Okay. He was the enforcer.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, Brock, do you have any stories of you and Abby you would like to share? I feel like I've been rambling on and on. It's like,
well, we were in the Wiz together,
yeah.
which that is a fun memory for me. But what was your experience like in like doing musical? Was that the only musical you did, or?
No, so we did, that was sophomore year that we did the Wiz. And then junior year, we did Into the Woods. And I was
okay.
Which my entire character consisted of crying, screaming, and dying. Those were the three things I did. That was all I did in that time. I like top of my career. No. And then senior year, we did that like where Gockel wrote the play. And then
I remember that one. That was really good. I actually really liked that one.
Yeah, Chasing the Wind is what it was called. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a scene in there that David and I had because David and I played fiancé.
Okay.
True love.
Yeah.
No, I remember because we were at the casting meeting or casting whatever, and Gawkel was like listing out the characters. She was like, so Alan is this character, he's kind of business but like really wants to be something else, and Caleb is his brother who's really focused on only business and that's it, and Caleb has a fiance. And I remember every single person like looked down at me, and I was like, I swear to God, please don't say I literally was like, please don't say my name.
I've been so good all 4 years. Don't
right,
right.
He goes, that's going to be played by Abby. And I remember David jumped out of his chair, like literally off the ground, and was like, yes! Oh, I was so mad. Like,
sounds like David.
He was very passionate about a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I remember there was this scene we had, and it was like a fight between Caleb and I can't even remember my character's name now. Shelby. Caleb and Shelby. And I wore this terrible Rachel Green wig. Oh, it was really bad. We had this scene where like it was supposed to be like we had an argument, and then I broke off the engagement, but it literally was like a 45-second scene where I was like, I hope you enjoy your life. Bye. And Gawkel was like, we don't like it. It's not really believable. And she goes, can y'all just like, argue? Is that possible? And everybody in the room was like, is that possible?
We've got stories for you.
Yeah.
Like, we came up with this like argument on the fly, and it was so strange because like I don't know how David would ever retell this story or if he even remembers this story. But it was like it was so clear that it stopped being like Caleb and Shelby arguing, and it was David and arguing. And like you could tell that on stage when it happened too. Everybody was like, wow, that scene was so authentic. Really
that's super funny.
It came from a very real place.
Yeah,
very real place. And I remember too, there wasn't a slap in the scene. Like she didn't hit him, but I remember like because he said the whole crux of it was like Shelby thought Caleb was a different person, blah 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 blah. Yeah. And the last thing he says to Shelby, or that David said in the argument, was, "You mean as much to me as anyone else does." And I remember hitting him like by reflex. I just like hauled off and like he wasn't expecting it or anything. But stayed, and we were like, "All right, good, cool, that works."
That's super funny.
Yeah.
That's super funny. But I remember the Wiz and Brent and I were talking about this on a different episode. But do you remember when I popped out of the box and handed Julie that flower or whatever? That was when I asked her to formal or whatever Life Christian called it. That's how I did it. And she said no in front of the entire audience.
Yeah, I think you were backstage at the time, Abby, and then he went and the whole auditorium was like, oh. And to this day, that's one of Brock's like formative memories of just absolute regret.
Yeah.
I hate it. That would have been so cute too. The head,
right? That's what I thought.
Because like if any guy at school went and did that to you, like how would you have responded? Just been like,
how would I have responded?
Yeah,
I'd have been like, yeah, heck yes, let's go. Like,
it's like you had the balls to ask me in front of an entirely full auditorium
on stage.
You got this.
Like
on stage.
I'm mad. Like I'm mad about that. That makes like I'm retroactively upset for you.
No, it's one. And then I remember one time after practice. This is one of Brent's favorite stories. We were taking the elevator up, and it was Missy, right?
Was Missy and Anna were with us.
Yeah, and out of nowhere, Missy starts talking to Brent and was like, "Oh yeah, why don't you go to public school?" And then for no fucking reason, she looks at me and goes, "I understand why you don't go to public school, but Brent, why don't you go to public school?"
Aww.
And I was like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
It was like so inadvertently mean. It's like, and me and Missy and Anna always have been like kind of cool.
Yeah.
But like I was never part of their group. Never.
Right.
I didn't want to be. I didn't want to associate with that. It was like,
well, and I think
everyone in high school is this.
Right. I think it's very indicative to like see how people change, because I remember like freshman year, Miss and I never ran in the same circles. And I remember Missy was who gave me my tour to Life Christian. So like having like a popular girl who was the cheerleader, who was pretty, like give me my first tour, that was very intimidating. But like Miss and I never ran in the same circles. And then I remember senior year, like she really had this encounter with the Lord that really changed who she was as a person. And so we actually became pretty close after that. So I was just like, it's so interesting to see how high school can change people.
Yeah.
Just in general, because if I was the same person I was in high school, I would have done nothing with my life.
Oh yeah, no, same here.
But yeah, I dislike that. That.
Yeah. It was fun because I ended up going on a tangent after that, but I don't remember what I said. But
you didn't say anything to them. Thank God.
No, I didn't say anything.
Falling out. That would have just been...
Which is surprising considering who I was in high school. But...
You had several choice words, none of which I would like to repeat on air because it was some of the most derogatory stuff I'd heard from you in a long time. Like, hey, whoa, simmer down. Don't do that. That's not okay.
Jesus.
That ended up just spiraling in a whole nother story because that was the same exact day, and you're like, oh, that's just my luck. But I remember like parts of whiz practice, like I would try and get you riled up, Abby. And like I remember like after one of the shows, me and David like riled you up hella bad, and you started like chasing us through the auditorium, and like we were dodging people and families and kids, and you were just like, I'm gonna get you guys. But you seem to be enjoying yourself for the most part, but we were just like, we just pissed off the Christian girl. It's like we did it.
At me because it's easy. I was very what's the, like, not excitable, I guess that's the wrong word, but I was like easily like triggered to like get that kind of get there. It's like, fine, you want to fight? Let's fight.
And then I seen by the slap.
Yeah, exactly.
Hands, so.
By physically assaulting David in high school.
Looking back, I don't think any of us are sorry it happened.
David did like a fair share of his own physical assaulting, so I think we're fine.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know those stories.
I also remember we had math class. I think it was junior year. It was both of our last go rounds with math because we were like, we'll get math over with, done with. We had all the same math classes. I remember both of us just looking at the board sometimes like, do you understand what's going on?
No idea the entire time.
And then out of the blue, we changed seating assignments all the time because he never wanted everyone to be super cliquish. And then he sat me next to you, and I was like, cool, I'm actually next to someone in this class I enjoy being around. And I was like, and then I was just like doodling because I wasn't paying attention. I was like, none of this information is going to be retained anyway. I might as well enjoy myself. And then all of a sudden I started doodling, and you just kind of, one of those little peek overs, like, what is he doing? What, like, is he taking good notes? What is this? It's like, I've never seen Brent take notes before. And I was just writing down like quotes from the movie The Other Guys, which me and Brock have talked about at length. And then all of a sudden, like, your hand just jets out and grabs the paper from me, and then you fill in the rest of the quote, and I'm like, the good Christian girl understands this movie. She knows these quotes. And then all of a sudden we just went back and forth just writing notes. I want to say for it was like 20, 30 minutes. And then like we divulged at a certain point. We started talking about certain people in the class and certain interactions that were going on in a school setting that were inappropriate.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I wrote something down, but you busted up laughing very loudly, and the class was super quiet. And all of a sudden he's just like, Abby, is there something you want to share with the class? And you were mortified.
I'm sure I just beat, like, just
red. And then I'm just sitting here just like, I'm the only one that has ever gotten her in trouble. The only one. And it's like the smallest things. Is like, I just made her laugh so hard that she just interrupted the whole class. I'm like, all right, like, I'll take this.
I'll take it. Street cred, right? Street cred.
And then like wherever we went for, I want to say like the next 2 years, every so often, like we'd be stuck in a setting together, and we would just be like, another guy's joke.
Yep.
Another joke back. And then we would just keep adding on to it, and we just became the best of friends for the most part. Because I remember you came to me like my senior year. I was dating a girl who was nothing but trouble for you for whatever reason, and you just opened up, and we just had like an actual heart to heart where it's like, wow, we've been like really, really good friends for us to trust each other and talk about this, because she thought the senior year of high school that you had a crush on me. She believed that you were like in it to try and be with me. And I was like, that's not who Abby is. When someone's in a relationship, she's not that human being. She's never been that human being. It's not what she's about. And it's like, also, she doesn't have bad taste. She's not going to be interested in me or in David or in anybody else in this class. But it was the only thing that literally calmed her down. I was like, Abby's got better taste than this. She's not interested in what is happening here. I was like, you misread the situation entirely. And then I talked to her, I was like, you need to leave her alone. You need to stop being a jerk. You need to stop doing what you're doing. It's not okay. It's like, we're cool, but me and Abby have been friends for 4 years. Don't do this. It's like, I'm not going to compromise my friendships just so I can be in a relationship with somebody. That's not how things are supposed to work. You're supposed to just accommodate everybody, and we're all supposed to click to a certain extent.
Well, and I remember too, because I remember the girl that you were dating at the time. She had gone to one of our teachers and was like, Abby's doing this, and she's being this kind of person, and like she's two-faced and hypocritical and blah 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 blah. And I remember our teacher pulled me aside and was like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, these things are being said about you. I don't believe any of them. And I was like, that was such a huge honor for me, because I was like, number one, I remember the event that made her not care for me, and I hadn't said any of the things she had said I said. And so I was really grateful, because all of my friends sided with her. Like they had all been like, oh, you really shouldn't have been like that or said that about her, like all this stuff. And I was like, I literally didn't. And so like for people like you, Brent, and like for this teacher to have believed me and had been on my side was so huge for me, because I felt so like, not alone, but I just felt so like nobody thought I was being truthful or honest. And I was like, I have spent 18 years of my life being like brutally honest. So I don't know why all y'all can't believe me.
If you had something to say, you said it.
Yeah. But I was like, I'm not the kind of jerk that's going to be behind people's backs, or like, if I have a problem with you, I'll tell you to your face, I got a problem with you. Like, I have no problem.
I have several stories that can completely 100% be like, yeah, Abby has told me several times to my face, you're being a jerk. You need to knock it off. This is what you're doing. Fix yourself. Like, understand.
But that's huge. That was huge. That's a huge honor to me. So thank you. I appreciate that.
We spent 4 years like getting to know each other. So it's like I felt like I knew you really well. It's like I'd gone to middle school with this particular girl. We never got along. I was like she always seemed like she was starting drama. But like of course my senior year is like, ooh, pretty girl.
Yeah.
Nobody blames
job, Brain.
Yeah.
So everything transpired the wrong way.
I think we have well taste in the other partner in high school, so you're fine.
Yeah.
Questionable might be the understatement, but well, that just happened. Goodbye. The light just took a suicide dive, but it's good.
I know.
I fixed it. I'm alive now. But let's talk